Part 56. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 551. In the live broadcast room, because there were too many people, the barrage disappeared quickly. What everyone was generally curious about was what had happened before. Because Li Chen and his group had not yet left the mountains, everyone was curious. But Li Chen and his group also tacitly did not mention this matter. Li Chen led them to continue walking down. This time, perhaps because there were no people like Gong Xiao, they encountered many more small animals. Whenever Xiao Wu approached or saw them, Li Chen used the animal control technique. Not for control, but for better communication. There were not many animals, so how could it work? Li Chen was also very hard to be a lobbyist. Fortunately, these animals could communicate with Li Chen, which saved a lot of trouble. Li Chen also asked them to tell their partners after they went back. Li Chen also wanted to use this group of animals to promote among animals. On the way, they really encountered a lot of small animals, leopards, rabbits, black goats, a common deer, various snakes, and various insects. Li Chen did not let any of them go. Originally, there were still many people in the live broadcast room who were obsessed with the previous Tiger King and the Wild Boar King. But seeing that Li Chen and Xiao Wu could talk to any animal, they were successfully diverted. This also caused the number of online viewers to soar to 4.5 million. Because these animals are often very cute. Especially the cute Xiao Wu, interacting with them can really warm people's hearts. Finally, an hour later, Li Chen led Li Zioqi and others out of the mountain. At the foot of the mountain at this time, the old village chief stood with a group of villagers holding sticks and tools. "Come out, come out." This group of villagers surrounded here, scaring everyone in the live broadcast room. Later they realized that it was because the villagers were worried about Li Chen and others that they surrounded here. But everyone was afraid and didn't dare to go in, so they could only wait. As for Leng Long and others who went down the mountain in advance, they were guarded by everyone. There were also police officers over there, but they didn't come to negotiate. Instead, an ordinary woman came. The woman looked young and the clothes she wore were also very ordinary. But his cultivation is not weak, reaching the early stage of the Grand Master level. As expected, it is someone from the inspection department. "Hello, Mr. Li Chen." The woman looked at Li Chen and suddenly saluted and said, "Can we chat?" Li Chen glanced at Li Zioqi and others and said, "You guys broadcast first, I'll be back soon." Li Zioqi and Li Xiaoan immediately nodded in understanding and did not sweep the live camera to Li Chen's side. The woman couldn't help but look at Li Chen carefully. To be honest, it was the first time she saw a strong man younger than herself. Although she was not young, she was actually close to 40. Because the lifespan of the Grand Master was almost doubled, she didn't look old. But Li Chen was different. She really felt that this person was really young. Not even 30 years old. Moreover, she couldn't feel the state of this person's cultivation at all, and thinking of the instructions of her superiors, she couldn't help but feel a little confused. This person really has a cultivation level beyond the Grand Master? Otherwise, it is impossible for a Grand Master to negotiate for something that happened in such a remote place, right? "I am one of the persons in charge in Jiangnan province. My name is Fan Tingzhu." "Hello." Li Chen extended his hand and smiled. "Mr. Li, we have something to verify with you regarding this animal hunting incident." Fan Tingzhu still smiled and asked politely. "They hunted a lot of animals here and brought guns." "This is all evidence," Li Chen said. "I know your style of doing things. This matter involves the martial arts world, so you came forward. My principle is very simple. I will punish them as they should." Fan Tingzhu nodded slightly. Just as he was about to continue speaking, the group of people guarding Gong Xiao in the distance began to quarrel. Not only that, several cars came, and they were expensive luxury cars. It was Li Shanfu who was guarding Leng Long and others. After the other party got off the car, they were actually very fierce. Especially when they saw that Gong Xiao was injured and the injury was particularly serious, the leading man and woman felt even more distressed. The man was Gong Haoshan, the current power controller of the Gong family, and the woman was named Gao Yuling. They are all Gong Xiao's parents. Behind the two of them, there are 6 bodyguards. Being able to accompany Gong Xiao to hunt animals here means that the power and status of the Gong family are not too weak. Otherwise, they can't hire so many masters. Gong Haoshan is just 50 years old, with a dignified face and indescribable vigor. After learning that his son got into trouble here, his first reaction was not to worry about this, but to worry about his son's safety. After all, he knew the people his son brought out. In such a remote place, it should be impossible for anyone to bully him. But he never expected that his son would still suffer a big loss. At this moment, lying on the ground, although the injuries on his legs have stopped, he is afraid that he can't walk in a short time and can only stay in bed. Chen Chen. Gao Yuling looked distressed, and tears came out the moment she saw her son. Mom, Gong Xiao was very aggrieved, and at this moment he had no domineering and arrogant spirit before. Who hurt you like this? Gao Yuling's heart was broken, and she couldn't bear to let go of her son. But now, both legs are stained with blood. How painful and torturous is this? Gong Qinjun's eyes immediately turned bitterly to Li Chen, who was looking over at Fan Tingzhu, and said, "That's him. Dad, if it weren't for him, I would have killed the wild boar king long ago." Gong Qinjun's eyes were filled with hatred. It was him who angered the wild boar king, and that's why the wild boar king hurt me. Not only that. I asked him to listen to me and not to stop me, but he still dared to refuse me. 2 staff members standing near Li Shanfu and other villagers immediately frowned and said, "Mr. Gong, that's not what you said before. You were the one who went in with a gun to hunt animals first." Hearing this, Gong Qinjun looked at the 2 staff members with a serious face and said, "Do you mean that I am slandering him? The facts are the facts. Your confession is inconsistent, which is very detrimental to yourself." The staff member said in a very fair manner, "Please think twice before you speak. Who do you think you are? Dare to warn my son?" Gao Yuling was unhappy when she heard this. "My son has been well behaved since he was a child, and he is definitely not the kind of person who causes trouble. I think you must have been bribed by the unruly people in this poor and remote place. Mrs. Gong, please be careful what you say." The expressions of the staff suddenly changed. "This Madam Gong is slandering them. You." Yuling, Gong Haoshan shook his head slightly to stop his wife from continuing to slander, but his attitude was not much better. "My son, I know it well. In addition, it was just hunting some small animals. Our Gong family is willing to pay compensation. However, one code is another code. My son is injured like this now. These people must give an explanation." The 2 staff members looked ugly. It was obvious that the Gong family wanted to cause trouble for the villagers here. "Get the young master into the car first." Gong Haoshan waved his hand lightly. "Mr. Gong, young Master Gong has to go back with us for further investigation. You can't take him away." Gong Haoshan's face turned cold, and the people on the side immediately stood up and slapped him. The staff member who spoke was slapped on the spot and blood spilled from the corner of his mouth. "My Gong family doesn't like to say things a second time." Gong Haoshan snorted coldly. Just when the masters of the Gong family were about to step forward, Li Shanfu stood in front of him with a stick and said, "If you beat a civil servant in front of everyone, does your Gong family have any royal laws?" Gong Haoshan was stunned, then glanced at Li Shanfu and others and said, "Wang Fa. Here, my Gong family is Wang Fa. Are you satisfied with this answer?" After speaking, he smiled contemptuously and pointed at Li Shanfu and others. "If these stupid villagers insist on trying to be heroes here, He doesn't mind getting rid of this group of people first, and also establishing rules by the way, so that no one will know who his Gong family is. Fan Tingzu and Li Chen, who happened to see the scene, glanced at each other and walked quickly towards the side at the same time. Li Zioqi and Li Xiaoan, who were live broadcasting in the distance, also saw the situation here and said, "It seems that the people over there who were paid to hunt animals were taken away by force. What do they want to do? Just take them away without being examined?" Li Donglong asked. It should be. Li Zioqi looked ugly. Did those animals die in vain? The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 552. When the people in the live broadcast room heard this, how could they sit still? So they asked Li Zioqi and others to expose the evil deeds of such people. They must not encourage them. Li Zioqi was still a little hesitant, because this matter involved some things that were not easy to tell ordinary people. If they got involved, it might not be a good thing. Let's wait and see. Li Zioqi was still very cautious, not wanting to cause trouble for Li Chen. But they also moved closer, ready to point the camera at the group of people at any time. Gong Haoshan saw Fan Tingzu and Li Chen coming, and there was no fear on his face. Obviously, the Gong family was also confident. "Mr. Gong." Ms. Fan Gong Haoshan was still polite. After all, he was one of the main persons in charge of Jiangnan and a master, so he had to be treated with due courtesy. "What are you doing?" Fan Tingzu smiled and pointed at the hired expert of the Gong family who was about to snatch people. Gong Haoshan said with a smile, "My son is ill, I want to take him back for treatment first. Miss Fan, please rest assured, we will cooperate. No matter what, the face of the inspection office must be given." Of course, everyone can hear that this sentence is a polite remark. Once he is really taken away by the Gong family, it will be difficult to catch him back. Fan Tingzu said with a smile, "Mr. Gong, please rest assured, we have an extremely advanced medical team here to ensure that Mr. Gong will not be sick." Gong Haoshan thought that after he made such an argument, this big shot of the inspection office should understand. But he never expected that the other party would ignore it directly and block his way back. The meaning is very clear: the Gong family can't take Gong Chenjun away. "Miss Fan, is it really like this?" Gong Haoshan said with a smile. "My Gong family has made some contributions in Jiangnan province, what do you think?" "One thing is one thing." Fan Tingzu continued to smile and respond politely. Gao Yuling on the side couldn't stand it anymore. "Fan Tingzu, who do you think you are? Our Chen Chen must be taken away today. If you don't agree, go find your superior. Just based on the stable income that my Gong family has created in Jiangnan over the years, you have to think carefully. Besides, my Gong family is not without people." Fan Tingzu's face showed no anger. "I really can't make the decision on this matter. After all, you are invading Mr. Li's hometown. Mr. Gong and Mrs. Gong, you should think twice before doing anything." Her words were obviously a reminder to the Gong couple. "Your Gong family is certainly powerful and has enough strength, but you have to figure out who you are provoking. This is an existence that even the chief director of the inspection department has to treat with caution. Are you sure your Gong family can afford it?" Of course, Fan Tingzu didn't know how high Li Chen's status is now. She only knew that the several responsible persons on the Jiangnan roadside expressed only one attitude: everything is up to him and he will arrange it. You know, the martial arts world is now controlled by the inspection office. Even the top families in the capital are suppressed by the inspection office. But here, it seems a little different. If you say that this young man has no special qualities, Fan Tingzu will not believe it even if he is beaten to death. Including the last time such a big family extermination incident happened in Rongcheng, the inspection office was also dispatched. There must be a reason. Moreover, the inspection office acquiesced. Hearing this, Gong Haoshan couldn't help but look at Li Chen. To be honest, he felt that this young man didn't have much to recommend him except that he was a little handsome. He looked at a middle-aged man beside him, and after seeing the middle-aged man shook his head slightly, he smiled and said, "What's your name, young man?" "Li Chen." "Hello, Mr. Li." Gong Haoshan smiled and said, "I am Gong Haoshan, the chairman of the Gong family. Let's not beat around the bush. My son did make some insignificant mistakes, but now he has been punished, so it's all forgiven. As long as my son can leave and go to the hospital for treatment, then our Gong family will also forgive the mistakes my son made about you before. How about it? In addition, I see that your village seems to be renovating a tourism project. My Gong family is willing to donate 10 million to you as compensation. How about it?" When Li Shanfu and others heard this, their hearts beat violently. However, they were also trained by Li Chen. Li Chen donated more than this money just to build roads. For poor people like them, 10 million is indeed something they can't earn in their lifetime, but for Li Chen, it's probably just a small thing, right? What's more, the villagers now all know that the project launched by Li Chen starts with 10 billion. 10 million is really not enough. Although everyone's heartbeat was very strong, they were really not moved. Fan Tingzu was also looking at Li Chen, waiting for him to answer. The people in the live broadcast room were anxious, and Li Zioqi did not point the camera at that side. Li Chen smiled and said, "Then according to Mr. Gong, you can do whatever you want if you have power, right? I don't know if I understand it wrong." Gong Haoshan frowned slightly. He had made great concessions in this matter, but from what this young man said, he didn't want to make concessions. Gao Yuling was eager to protect her son, so she didn't want to listen to Li Chen's nonsense here, so she said, "If you really want to understand it this way, it's not wrong." He was a little dissatisfied with his wife's interruption. But thinking that it was indeed the truth, he held back again. Now, his Gong family is naturally not afraid. Does this young man really dare to provoke the Gong family? Li Chen smiled when he heard this. "I understand what Madame Gong meant." Fan Tingzu on the side slightly tensed his body and looked at Li Chen quietly. "It would be best if you understand." Gao Yuling looked disdainful. "Can I take my son away now?" "Of course you can." Li Chen nodded with a smile. Fan Tingzu on the side frowned slightly. Did this man agree to it? Li Zioqi and others in the distance were also a little surprised. Is Li Chen the kind of person who bullies the weak and fears the strong? Gao Yuling and Gong Haoshan showed a hint of disappointment and contempt when they heard this. If this young man had fought hard and then chose to give in, they would have looked up to him, but now, only contempt. But just when Gao Yuling was about to contact her son, Li Chen said, "Since your Gong family likes to do things in this way, if I don't follow your rules, wouldn't it mean that I, as a landlord, have not fulfilled my duties as a landlord?" Gong Haoshan and his wife's faces changed slightly. "Jiangnan Dao Gong family, right?" Li Chen smiled with a hint of teasing. "Originally, you did things according to the rules, and I didn't think anything, but now your attitude makes me very unhappy. Then I'm sorry." At this time, the middle-aged man next to Gong Haoshan stood up. This was a mid-level grandmaster. The Gong family's background is not bad to be able to invite such an existence. Li Chen's eyes condensed slightly, and the middle-aged man didn't even say a word. With a loud bang, his knees knelt hard on the ground. The ground was violently shaken. Fan Tingzu and the Gong family's couple's faces changed at the same time. Even Gong Xiao, who knew nothing, was terrified at this moment. Leng Long, who stood silently by the side without saying a word, shook his head. The Gong family is over. To provoke someone like Li Chen is to seek death. The huge changes in front of them happened so fast that no one even had time to react. Especially Gong Haoshan, he knew that the middle stage of the Grand Master was nothing in the whole country. But this is Jiangnan Road, there are very few families with Grand Masters. Those with early stage grandmasters are top-level existences. Not to mention, their Gong family also has a middle stage grandmaster. This is already the existence of the ceiling. Who would have thought that the other party didn't even make a move, and this existence of the ceiling knelt down. Cold sweat seeped from Gong Haoshan's forehead. "Hello, it's me, Li Chen." Li Chen took out his mobile phone in front of everyone and said, "Are you familiar with Jiangnan Road?" "Of course I am familiar with it. Our Wu family governs this area," Wu Chuping said on the phone. Li Chen smiled and said, "Does the Gong family of Jiangnan know about this?" "Yes." Wu Chuping immediately became serious. "I was the one who supported the old man of the Gong family." "Did the Gong family provoke you?" Hearing this familiar voice, Gong Haoshan and Gao Yuling's faces turned pale. "Indeed, a little bit." Li Chen smiled and said in a nonchalant manner, "I don't like the surname Gong now." Gong Haoshan's legs softened and he almost knelt down. "If you don't like the surname Gong, then there is no need for the Gong family to exist." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 553. The status of the Gong family is an insurmountable mountain for most families. One is because the Gong family's own financial resources are not comparable to those of ordinary people, the other is because in addition to its own strong financial resources, the Gong family also has real supportive people behind it. A master like Wu Chuping is a super veteran and has been standing for so many years. One can imagine his influence and prestige. There is a complete difference between a family with a master in charge and a family without a master in charge. Originally, Wu Chuping was a great master of martial arts, and he was only one step away from the realm of heaven and human beings. This kind of existence was very terrifying. Not every strong master can cross the realm of heaven and man. Even people like the Gong family have to look at the faces of Wu Chuping and others, not to mention that the Gong family was supported by Wu Chuping. Gong Haoshan's father was protected by Wu Chuping, which allowed the Gong family to gradually grow. Finally, in Gong Haoshan's hands, it started to shine. Without the support of a great martial arts master, and the Gong family itself had no martial arts master, it would be impossible for them to be so arrogant. But now, Gong Haoshan's long-term belief collapsed in an instant. Until this moment, he was still a little dazed and unreal. Who dares to believe that the young man in front of him can actually command the supporters behind him? Because he started his career with the support of a martial arts master, Gong Haoshan knows the prestige of a martial arts master better than anyone else. The reason why the Gong family is more unscrupulous is also simple, that is because the supporters behind it have entered a new level. Realm of heaven and humanity. This is a symbol that only wealthy families in this world have. If an ordinary family has a great master, they are already at the top of the local area. As for the heavenly realm, that is a foundation that only the top families can have. On the phone, Wu Chuping's voice was cold. "Gong Haoshan, are you brave?" Li Chen turned on the loudspeaker, and when Wu Chuping's cold voice came out, the hair on Gong Haoshan's body stood on end. "Uncle Wu," Gong Haoshan's voice cords were trembling, and his waist was slightly bent. "It seems that the treatment given to you by my Wu family is so good that you have even forgotten your last name," Wu Chuping snorted coldly. "I don't care how you provoke Mr. Li, whether you kneel down and kowtow to beg for mercy, or commit suicide. In short, you have to satisfy Mr. Li. If you don't satisfy him, then I will make your Gong family disappear completely." Gong Haoshan and Gao Yuling's faces instantly turned pale, and their whole bodies felt as if they had been struck by lightning. "Uncle Wu," Gong Haoshan's eyes showed deep fear. He couldn't help but look at Li Chen and said quickly, "Mr. Li, I was wrong, I'm sorry." Even Gao Yuling, who loved her son so much, was trembling and bowed to apologize again and again. This scene made Li Zioqi, Li Shanfu, and Fan Tingzhu, who had been paying attention around them, all dumbfounded. Especially Fan Tingzhu Lenglong and the Grand Master kneeling on the ground, they know very well what status and realm Wu Chuping is now. It is no exaggeration to say that he is the #1 person in Jiangnan Road. With this status, he can already talk to the director of the inspection department in the southern border. However, who dares to believe that such a person would care so much about a young man's attitude? He even said that if the Gong family did not satisfy Li Chen, Gong Haoshan would commit suicide. Who dares to believe it? Gong Chenjun, who was lying on a simple stretcher, was even more stunned. Of course he knew Wu Chuping and was very familiar with it. This grandfather-like figure was usually very amiable, but this was the first time he encountered such a cold and murderous tone. Fan Tingzhu looked at Li Chen, his eyes full of awe and fear. But Li Chen was too lazy to pay attention to Gong Haoshan's apology. After turning off the phone, he turned around and said, "If every time I did something wrong, I could just apologize and expose it, then the world would have become peaceful and beautiful long ago." Gong Haoshan, who was bent at 90 degrees, trembled again and suddenly fell to his knees on the ground. "Dad," Gong Chenjun exclaimed. Gong Haoshan ignored his son, but looked at Li Chen's back and began to kowtow. "My Gong family is blind and has offended Mr. Li. My Gong family is willing to apologize and let Mr. Li do whatever he wants." "It's not me you offended." Li Chen shook his head and said, "Actually, looking at this matter now, your Gong family still doesn't think you were wrong." "No, no, no, my Gong family is wrong." Gong Haoshan quickly kowtowed and begged for mercy. "It is my Gong Haoshan who is so greedy for profit, arrogant, coercive, and it is my fault in discipline that makes the dog even more unruly, killing a large number of animals without regard for any life. My Gong family realizes their mistake. My Gong family is willing to accept punishment and compensate for the losses. In the future, we will set up a special animal protection association and give away 30% of the Gong family's property." It can be said that the Gong family made quite a few concessions at this time. But Li Chen was not satisfied and had no intention of exposing it. Since the Gong family has caused the evil consequences this time, it must be eliminated. "Do you really think that Li Chen is a good person?" Li Chen ignored Gong Haoshan and said to Fan Tingzhu, "You handle it yourself. I'll leave first. If anyone damages every plant and tree here, you will be punished yourself." Fan Tingzhu put away his previous lack of awe and immediately said respectfully, "Yes." As for the middle-aged man who was suppressed and kneeling on the ground by Li Chen before, his face turned pale. He remained silent the whole time, just wanting to reduce his presence. Because he doesn't know what his next fate will be? Gong Haoshan looked at Li Chen's retreating back and fell to the ground blankly. He knew that the Gong family was really finished. "Dad." Gong Chenjun looked at Gong Haoshan who was lying on the ground and said, "We have already made such a big concession, why doesn't he accept it? My Gong family has already been so humble and kowtowed to him. If he doesn't accept his mistake, can it be that Grandpa Wu really destroyed our Gong family?" "Shut up," Gong Haoshan was furious. Gong Chenjun had never been so cruel to his father in his life, and he became increasingly unconvinced. He didn't believe that the man's words caused the Wu family to end their relationship with the Gong family. Jingle bell. The phone rang rapidly. Gong Haoshan took out his cell phone with trembling fingers. When he saw the phone number, his expression suddenly changed. "Dad. Have you accepted the apology, Mr. Li?" On the phone, Mr. Gong's voice was indescribably calm and cold. Gong Haoshan hesitated and said, "No." There was a long silence on the phone. "Be prepared, the Gong family is not safe." Gong Haoshan's heart trembled and he almost collapsed. "Dad, is there really nothing we can do? If you know who you offended, you will understand that there is no room for maneuver in this matter," Mr. Gong said, "or, you depose your son in public, donate 80% of the Gong family's property, and let everyone has seen your regret, or, the Gong family is just waiting to decline. Toot toot. Mr. Gong on the other end of the phone had hung up the phone and sighed heavily. The palms and backs of his hands were full of flesh, so he couldn't take full advantage of them. On one side is his family, on the other side is his own grandson. This disaster was caused by his own grandson, and he must be given an explanation. Mr. Gong couldn't decide whether to sacrifice his grandson or his family, so he left this multiple-choice question to his son. After all, his son was also responsible for this disaster. As for the outcome, he chose to lie down. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 554. Let me tell you, am I the only one who saw baby animals for the first time in a live broadcast? This little tiger cub is so cute, I can't wait to hold him. Why doesn't Xiao have a pet? Upstairs, I'm afraid you forgot Daodu, be careful Daodu beats you. The live broadcast room suddenly became lively as several children entered the country holding animals. At this time, Li Xiaoqi's live broadcast room not only did not suffer from the previous interruption and decline in popularity, but also became more and more popular. When Li Xiaoqi, as the anchor, brought Xiaowu, 3 brothers and sisters, and the little animals they brought back, they became even more adorable among netizens. Ouch! The little wolf cub was very scared, and he had disliked Li Zifeng before. Seeing that there were so many people at this moment, she trembled and moved towards Li Zifeng's arms. Li Zifeng couldn't help laughing. This little guy tickled her a little, and if he knew how to lick her fingers, she would be tickled. If he didn't know the inside story, who would have dared to believe that the little wolf cub also had such a cute side? The 2 little tigers were obviously very close to Li Donglong. After all, they were still young, and there were many people around, so they were a little scared. When they saw Li Xiaoqi approaching, they would still show their teeth to Li Xiaoqi in a cute and fierce way. But when Li Xiaoqi touched the 2 little guys, the 2 little guys immediately showed a posture of enjoyment. So, do little tigers also like to be pulled by people? Like kittens? Many people are asking. The number of people in Li Xiaoqi's live broadcast room directly exceeded 5 million. There is no way, human cubs and animal cubs together, no one can resist. Not only is the popularity now at an all-time high, it can also rush to the forefront even on other platforms. As for rewards and hot searches, they have already exploded. As a result, the search for the entire Aishang live broadcast also increased by 1 million times in one day. I'm afraid that there will be a lot of excitement at Daddy's house this time. It's true. There are Daodu and Xiaohua's snake, and now there are so many more animals. It's almost like a zoo. Haha, Xiaohua will hold the dog in one hand and coil the snake in the other hand. This scene is amazing. Then what about me, the actor Li? Don't you take me, the actor Li, seriously. Haha, fans of the actor Li, don't be disappointed. The actor's pet is a wild boar. Puff, ha ha ha. Li Nanfei, don't I have any face? Li Chen was comforting the old village chief and the villagers. He could see clearly that everyone cared about him. After this incident, Li Chen really realized that his family had finally completely integrated into his hometown. Village chief Li Wenda was about to take people away when he heard a shrill scream from the other side. Li Xiaoan subconsciously turned the camera over and just saw Gong Haoshan holding a hoe and breaking Gong Qinjun's legs. Ah! The scene was cruel and bloody. Although it was only a few seconds, it was still seen by more than 5 million viewers. Isn't that the eldest son of the Gong family? Is it the young master of the Gong family who attacked the animals before? What's going on? Can anyone tell me? Someone went into the mountains to hunt animals before, but was stopped by the nanny and the anchor, and then the server crashed. We don't know what happened in the middle, but now the one who beat young Master Gong seems to be his father. Is this to set the record straight? Li Xiaoan realized that something was wrong and quickly moved the camera, but it was too late. Today's netizens have no other skills, but they are the best at eating melons. So, soon the whole story, including the people involved, were exposed. It immediately caused another shocking melon. Is this true? Gong Haoshan actually issued a new announcement. The Gong family will give an explanation for this incident. Gong Qingjun's legs were crippled and he was sent to the relevant departments for punishment. It's really cruel. He broke his legs in public. But he did a good job. Killing small animals indiscriminately should be severely punished. I support Gong Haoshan this time. With such wealth and power, he didn't commit favoritism. It seems that the Gong family is still not confused. That's not necessarily true, right? What if it's to protect the reputation of the Gong family? Do you need to donate 80% of your own property to protect your reputation? Do you need to set up a special wildlife protection organization? The internet was immediately in an uproar. The case of eating wild animals is not uncommon. But it has never been brought to light. But today, this matter will inevitably involve many problems. The Gong family has taken the lead and set an example, and supported it to the end. How many people dare to show their superiority? Of course, there is also a lot of controversy about support and opposition at this time. Even the place of Ljia village has become popular. It has been popular several times before, and this time more than 5 million people watched it online, so it is hard not to be popular. You are discussing the pros and cons of the Gong family here. I just want to ask, is this nanny necessarily a good person? What do you want to do upstairs? I see that every time you speak, you target Li Chen. Does he have a grudge against you? Others killed small animals and received the punishment they deserved, so what about Li Chen? What happened to Li Chen? Did he kill animals? Haha, a bunch of brainless fans. Please look at the small animals that you praised so much. How big are they? Don't tell me that the animals gave them to them themselves. It's scary to think about it. This is the truth. Grow your brains. Those 2 tigers, wolf cubs, and wild boar cubs were obviously picked up by them during that period when Gong Shao and others killed the big guys. Then they created a cute pet personality and took the opportunity to gain fans. Why should such people be popular? Shouldn't they be punished the same as the Gong family? That makes sense. Li Chen is a habitual offender. He first used dogs to play fake games to create a wave of popularity, and now he uses these animals to create another wave of popularity. I admit that Li Chen is a genius and it makes sense for him to be popular, but ask yourself, aren't the little animals innocent? Being used by the Li family as a tool to make money? This is worse than the Gong family. A stone stirs up 1,000 waves. On the internet, many people fell into deep thought. Will animals give their cubs to Li Chen and others? It is obviously impossible. That can only mean one thing: these little animal cubs were taken out by Li Chen and others in some way. Then this behavior is not caring for small animals, but cruelty. Keeping small animals in captivity and establishing a cute pet persona is so abominable. On the internet, the treatment of these small animals is also full of controversy. Although no one saw Li Chen kill any small animals, many people firmly believe that Li Chen is a bad person. Of course, all kinds of dog kings, various animal trainers, and various arrogant people on the internet are bombarding Li Chen. Some are even on the way to the challenge. Maybe they will arrive today, and some may arrive tomorrow. When everyone arrives, they will go to Ljia village to challenge and expose Li Chen's lies live for everyone. I personally like the 4 babies in Li Chen's family, but I think it's better to leave the matter of raising animal cubs to the animals. If Li Chen and his friends don't care about money and popularity, they should send them back. They are very primitive here. Isn't it good for small animals to live with humans? Isn't it good for people and nature to live in harmony? I believe that human nature is evil, and I even suspect that Li Chen is a special person who traffics wild animals. It's just that the Gong family touched his cake, so he changed his strategy. After all, even the most powerful animal trainers abroad can't easily get these animal cubs. I remember a Jack the Master is a famous animal trainer. Others even train lions, but they were still injured when they touched the cubs. I don't believe that Li Chen is better than Master Jack. Yes, such professional talents will encounter setbacks. How can Li Chen get the cubs of the three most ferocious animals, tigers, wolves, and wild boars? I now suspect that Li Chen has a secret that cannot be revealed. Nicholas Lu Wu, will be here soon. I will formally challenge Li Chen tomorrow. I hope he will not be afraid of fighting. My Lingzhou Dog King will also be here soon. Texas Beast Tamer, want to challenge Mr. Li Chen. For a while, the entire live broadcast room was completely blown up. Because many people really can't explain how Li Chen and his team got the animal cubs. Since the people of the Gong family have been punished, what is Li Chen's purpose? Also, now the major dog kings and powerful animal tamers from abroad have come to compete with Li Chen. Is Li Chen really capable, or is he just a topical figure who is good at creating hot spots? In fact, he has no real ability. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 555. Li Xiaoan winked at Li Xiaoqi. After all, the two sisters have worked together for so long, so they still have a tacit understanding. Li Xiaoqi also knew that the live broadcast room might be led by the black fans again. So she looked at Li Chen, who had noticed the movement in the live broadcast room a long time ago. Originally, he didn't take these fleas seriously, but the fleas always fleas, which inevitably made people a little upset. What's more, after he saw the operation of the Gong family, it was not good to really care about anything. After all, the Gong family has already suffered a huge loss, and it has also used the platform to expose it to the entire outside world. It would be bad if the Gong family was really forced to death. After seeing this scene, some of Li Chen's thoughts suddenly changed. The reason why the black fans on the internet are so rampant and unscrupulous is because he has never responded and has never taken any action. And this is also the main reason why they are more and more certain and believe that he, Li Chen, is faking it. In this case, why not do the opposite? Anyway, Ljia village will be famous sooner or later. Instead of waiting for someone to take advantage of the popularity when building a reputation in the future, it is better to take advantage of this wave of popularity and build momentum thoroughly. As for the dog kings from all over the country and even abroad coming to him to fight dogs, he is really not afraid at all. To be frank, although Daodu is only this big, it is more than enough to deal with these dogs. It is reasonable to say that it is the world's #1 god dog. What's more, promoting the ecological paradise is also a major focus. Don't you all believe that humans and animals can live in harmony? Then I will build one for you to see, and make this place a perfect place for real habitation. In an instant, Li Chen had an idea in his mind, so when Li Xiaoqi cast an inquiring look, Li Chen immediately nodded. Although Li Xiaoqi was worried, she did not doubt it at this moment. From the time she met Li Chen to the time she knew Li Chen never did anything without confidence. Since everyone wants to know what's going on, why don't we wait for the dog kings and anchors to come, and then we can discuss this issue together. Li Xiaoqi immediately said, Li Chen himself will prove to you that he is not what some people interpret him to be. Really? So tough? Doesn't that mean that he will accept the challenges of the dog kings and even the top beast masters from abroad tomorrow? Awesome, although I don't know where this daddy's confidence comes from. But I'm willing to watch. Believe in the daddy. That's right, I hate those people who are arrogant the most, saying that foreign things are the best. It's really brainless stuff, all based on imagination. In the live broadcast room, everyone quarreled again. Li Zioqi was so confused that she had to look at Li Chen. Li Chen then walked into the camera and said, "I accepted the challenge, so don't guess, it's meaningless, you will know the result tomorrow." After Li Chen finished speaking, he withdrew. Anyway, no matter how these people black him, he still lives a rich and colorful life. Instead of dealing with these haters, it is better to think about how to accompany the 3 children. Looking at Li Chen's back as he left, Li Zioqi immediately said to the live broadcast room, "Dear friends, today's live broadcast is over, goodbye." "Ah, no way. It's over. Kikai, you can actually live broadcast more, we all like to watch it." "Yes, don't pay attention to those trolls. Many people are persuading." But Li Zioqi ignored it and asked Li Xiaoan to turn off the live broadcast. Love live broadcast. Chu Liankong and others were speechless. More than 5 million people are watching online. You just turn it off? Many executives looked at me and I looked at you, and I didn't know what to say for a while. If it were any other live broadcast, they would wish to live broadcast until the end of time. After all, this is also a new record. But everyone also knows Li Zioqi's temperament. She will not deliberately reduce the length of time. It may not be a bad thing to end it now. After all, those who had been clamoring before are now rushing to Ljia village. Tomorrow, Ljia village will be particularly lively. Let's prepare. In addition, contact the foreign server and try to get another big one. Chu Liankong thought for a while and ordered. "Mr. Chu, is it too much of a fuss?" Everyone was a little confused. Now the upper limit of their new server is 8 million. Could it be that when Li Zioqi broadcasts live tomorrow, the number of online users can still exceed 8 million? This is impossible at all. Go prepare. Chu Liankong didn't explain anything. He couldn't say that this was his premonition, right? In addition, he could understand Li Zioqi's indifferent mentality. Because according to the original agreement, Li Zioqi would leave. But now the company has changed, the person in charge has changed, and the management has changed. The boss behind the scenes obviously wants to continue to support her, so Chu Liankong must keep Li Zioqi. After finding Li Zioqi's number, Chu Liankong immediately dialed it. "Hello," Li Zioqi, who was packing up, looked at the number suspiciously. Of course she knew Chu Liankong, a man with a lot of courage and determination. "It's me, Chu Liankong." "I know." Li Zioqi smiled and said, "What's wrong?" "Congratulations, you broke the record." Li Zioqi shook her head slightly. "Tell me, what's the matter?" "Stay." Li Zioqi frowned slightly. "You should know my current situation. Staying here won't do me any good. You can arrange it freely. The only requirement is the length of the live broadcast." Chu Liankong said, "Ling Fei has been hidden and is facing the problem of debt collection from our company. Now you are the well-deserved number 1 sister. You should know that I don't care about the position of number 1 sister. The company has been acquired." Chu Liankong was too lazy to talk nonsense and said directly, "Now that President Ling and others have left, our new batch of people have taken over. The replacement was completed last night. The server crashed today, and we are also handling it. The one who acquired us is President Chen Yanqing. You should have heard that her instructions to us are to support you." Li Zioqi stood there blankly, looking at the figure holding Li Biwuhai in the distance. The company is now a brand new company. President Chen also said that you can arrange it freely. Now Rai Shang Live has become more famous. Chu Liankong said at a very fast speed, "If you can take advantage of the victory, you will be no worse than any top female anchor in the country. At the same time, Rai Shang Live will also be among the top and create considerable value. You can even have a separate studio and get a certain amount of shares. This is all possible. All of this is like a dream." After Li Zioqi hung up the phone, her expression was still a little dazed. "Did he do it? Sister, is what he said true?" Li Xiaoyan's eyes were fiery. If the company is now undergoing a major change, Ling Fei will be hidden again. And Li Xiaoqi still has great freedom, that would be great. I don't know. Li Xiaoqi shook her head and immediately said, check the current situation of Ling Fei, and get in touch with Ling Jinyan. Okay. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 556. Aishang live broadcast has risen rapidly in one day. This live broadcast was really shocking. As a result, many newcomers and followers began to emerge, but Li Xiaoqi didn't care. Li Chen's success cannot be copied, and it is useless for these people to imitate him. Quickly catch up with Li Chen. Giggle Li Bu was smiled happily, with dimples on his face. Every time she was thrown up high by Li Chen, she would feel doubly happy. Xiao Feng, what is this? Wolf. Oh my god, why are you hugging a wolf? This thing bites people. Grandpa Wang this little wolf is very good and doesn't bite, Li Zifeng explained sweetly. Different from the situation when she first came to the village, Li Zifeng can already communicate with the elders in the village. Is this your brother? Yes, brother, this is Uncle He from the village. Li Donglong was holding two tigers in his arms, still a little embarrassed and shy. Although this is his father's home, he is not familiar with it. Now everyone knows that Li Chen has 4 children, but no one thought that Li Chen's children would be so big and beautiful. People in the village don't praise people in a subtle way, they do it directly. The praise made Li Donglong's face turn red, and he hugged the 2 little tigers and kept saying thank you. Li Xiaoqi followed silently, and she suddenly felt that it was a pity to turn off the live broadcast. Compared with that kind of thrills, she prefers the attitude of the Li family and the people of Jia village in getting along. This kind of relationship is the most warm and satisfying. After returning home, Li Bui ran down immediately. Woof woof. Dowda rushed out, and his dog eyes immediately saw Li Zifeng's little wolf and the little wild boar following him. Bang chi bang chi. The little black pig obviously recognized Dowdu and moved closer to Dowdu. Dowdu immediately disliked Dowdu and ran away. Xiaozu, why did you come to my house too? The little black pig saw that Dowdu disliked him and continued to get close to Dowdu. I didn't want to either. My mother asked me to come. Dowdu kicked the little black pig away and lay on Li Zifeng's lap, barking. You already have a dog at home, how about raising another one? Don't I, Dowdu, have no face? Li Zifeng kicked Dowdu away, don't scare Xiao Lang. As soon as she heard this, Dowdu's eyes lit up. She moved closer to Li Zifeng's legs, stood upright again, looked at the shivering little wolf, and grinned. You smile so evilly. Li Zifeng pinched Dowdu's mouth and said, if I see you bullying Xiao Lang, I will beat you up. Dowdu rolled his eyes, the little master's sister is so partial. Woof woof. Dowdu came closer to Li Donglong again, still a little wary, looking at the 2 fierce little tiger cubs. Roar. The voices of the 2 little tigers are not fierce at all, but rather cute. Dowdu smiled immediately, he still knew the existence of the tiger. Logically speaking, it cannot be provoked. But things are different now. He feels that he can have a tiger brother in the future. Woo. The 2 tiger cubs were frightened and moved towards Li Donglong's arms. Come back, Li Chuanlong looked at Li Donglong, Li Zifeng, and Li Bui with a worried look. After checking it carefully, he kicked Li Chen on the butt. The 3 children, including Li Chen, were stunned. Grandpa, why are you kicking me? You still have the nerve to say that? Li Chuanlong was really angry at this time, and roared with an angry look on his face, I have already told you that the mountains behind are very dangerous, and you still take your children there? What should I do if something goes wrong? You bitch, can I not control you anymore? What do you think of letting my precious great-grandson take risks? His head was kicked by a donkey. Li Zifeng and Li Donglong looked at each other and smiled silently. My father, who was treated with respect even by the Grand Master, is now like a grandson. Although he is indeed the grandson. The way my great-grandpa protects his shortcomings is really handsome. Grandpa Li Biwu rushed over, hugged Li Chuanlong's thigh and said, Xiao Wu is fine, don't be so aggressive, okay. Li Chuanlong wanted to kick Li Chen, but he stopped when he thought that Xiao Wu was still hugging him. After picking up Xiao Wu, Li Chuanlong's anger subsided a little. How old are you, and you still don't know something? Li Chuanlong poked Li Chen's chest and said, if I see you messing around with your child again, I will break your legs. Li Chen. This is simply unreasonable. A great-grandson or a great-granddaughter is a grandson. Is my grandson really not a grandson? Grandpa Li Biwu held Li Chuanlong's cheek with his fleshy little hands and said, don't be so angry, you will get old. Li Chuanlong had a stinking face towards Li Chen just now, but then he turned to Li Biwu and immediately changed into a bright smiling face. Li Chen. Damn it, are you going to let me live in this house? Xiao Wu, are you scared? Li Chuanlong's tone was full of gentleness. No, Li Biwu shook his little head, his crooked braid swaying. It's better if I don't have it. Li Chuanlong smiled. Xiao Feng, Xiao Long, what are you holding? Grandpa, this is Little Wolf. Cerebellar X. Ah. Li Chuanlong was startled and hid far away, saying, old tiger. Li Zifeng and Li Donglong were dumbfounded. Grandpa's reflex arc. Yes, Li Donglong held up 2 tiger cubs. The little guys opened their mouths to Li Chuanlong, and they didn't have many teeth. Li Chuanlong waved his hands and said, can this thing be raised? Phuket Island. Li Donglong shook his head. He had to ask his father this question. Standing like a stick, why don't you go help the children? Li Chuanlong slapped Li Chen, who was watching the fun, and almost knocked Li Chen unconscious. Small animals are also children. Do you still expect them to raise them? You don't know how to worry at all. Li Chen. Okay, it turns out that you are not happy with what I do now. Li Chen sighed. This life is unbearable. Xiao Feng, Xiao Long, take the little guys to the backyard. Li Chen waved his hand. Xiao Ziahe, come here too. Hunk. Xiao Ziahe immediately twisted his waist and quickly followed. It likes the environment here and the fragrant vegetables. Li Chen's house is very big, with plenty of space, and there are several places for feeding wild animals. Now, in addition to wild turtles and wild rabbits, there are a few more small animals at home. The yard is very large, with sunshine in some places and shade in others. After Li Donglong put the 2 little tigers down, the little guys immediately started to play happily like dogs. The little wolf was still shivering, and now it has become the most timid. Kikai and Wenwen, come in quickly, the sun is very bright. Li Chuanlong immediately greeted with a smile, are you not hurt? No, thank you Grandpa. Li Zioqi and Li Xiaoan both smiled sweetly. And pulled Li Chuanlong to chat about family matters. Xiao Long. Ah, Li Donglong looked at Li Chen. Little tiger wants meat, you'll have to pay for it yourself in the future. Li Donglong nodded, I will. Xiao Feng, you too. Li Chen moved a chair, sat down leisurely, crossed his legs and said, I'll leave Xiao Ziahe to you for the time being. Okay, Li Zifeng said, I can cheat, ahem, can I ask Ziafi for child support? The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 557. When there are many small animals in the backyard, it becomes lively. Dad, when Li Chen picked up the phone and received a call from his youngest son Li Nanfei almost cried. Why, Li Nanfei said with emotion and regret on his face. What why? Why is the eldest brother's tiger, the second sister's wolf, and mine a pig? Li Nanfei pouted his lips, unhappy. Li Chen almost couldn't help laughing, and turned the camera on Li Donglong and Li Zifeng, who were playing with the animals. In the video, Li Nanfei shed tears of envy. You asked a very good question. Li Chen smiled and said, it's a pity that I can't answer it. Humph, Li Nanfei was a little unconvinced. Especially when I saw that my eldest brother had 2 tigers, I felt sad. Brother? Ang, Li Donglong turned his head and waved to Li Nanfei in the video. Let's discuss something. Li Donglong shook his head decisively, I won't agree if I don't agree to it. Li Nanfei. I haven't even said anything yet. As soon as you rolled your eyes, I knew what you were going to say. Li Donglong was very alert. You want me to give you a brain axe, right? Li Nanfei immediately nodded his head in envy. Impossible. Brother, I am your biological brother. Li Nanfei was about to cry, his voice trembling. You can pull it down, I won't tie it up now. Li Chen almost died laughing. His brothers turned against each other. Was it because of the little tiger? Brother, so love will disappear, right? Get out. You boy is so evil. Li Donglong gave Li Nanfei a slap on the back of his head. Li Nanfei was dumbfounded. Who is disgusting? Second sister, second sister. What? Li Zifeng turned around and looked at his brother. Let's discuss something, Li Nanfei continued, not intending to give up. You say. That's right, I've been obsessed with wolves since I was a child. Ah. Hello. Xiao Wu called me, I'm leaving first. Li Zifeng didn't wait for Li Nanfei to finish speaking, and ran away with Xiao Lang in her arms. Li Nanfei. Li Chen suppressed a smile and said, actually, Xiao He is also very good, mainly because he has many helpers and elders. But it's a pig. Li Nanfei was in a very depressed mood. You can't say that. The fighting power of the wild boar king is comparable to that of the tiger king. Li Chen said, look, when you raise Xiao He, will there be more than 20 wild boars standing behind him? By then he would sit on the grown-up little He, and with one command, 20 or 30 big wild boars would charge together. How majestic is that? Does your elder brother have one? No. He only has 2 tigers, and you don't show any weakness in fighting. Is that so? Li Nanfei was a little unsure. It has to be, Li Chen said with a smile. In the future, when your second sister's wolf grows up, the number of wolves will have to double before they can beat your herd of wild boars. Have you discovered that you are the best? It seems so. Li Nanfei suddenly smiled brightly. Then Dad, you have to take good care of me. I want to see a big little black when I come back. Don't worry, Li Chen said with a smile. Where is your mother? It's still being filmed. Just wait a moment and she'll be fine. A quarter of an hour later, Murong Shui sat in front of the camera with a serious look on her face. She was almost furious when she learned that Li Chen actually took her 3 children on an adventure. What if something happens to the child? So during the filming, she made 2 mistakes before she passed the filming. I rushed over as soon as I finished shooting. Li Chen, at this time, Murong Shui was filled with anger and ready to explode. Shui, I miss you so much. Murong Shui. The suppressed anger in his heart was dissipated by these words. You have lost weight. Did you not sleep well? Why don't we stop filming? Li Chen asked with tenderness in his eyes. Murong Shui's anger was half gone again. Shui, do you know? Li Chen affectionately took out a bouquet of wild flowers from his back and said, you are the tenderness and surprise that I have been waiting for in these lovely days. Murong Shui's pretty face suddenly turned red. The ears and the top of the head were like clouds of white smoke rising. Although he knew that Li Chen was saying nice things to block his mouth, his heart was racing uncontrollably. Her eyes were like water, and she glared at Li Chen shyly and angrily. Her sweet words immediately made her lose her temper. The longing in Murong Shue's heart also came up like a spring. She supported her chin with both hands and looked at Li Chen with admiration in her eyes. "Brother Chen. When I come back, we'll go get the certificate." Okay, Li Chen nodded seriously, staring at Murong Shue's almost perfect face and said, "I wish I had a time calculator so that you can come back to me quickly." When Murong Shue heard this, her pretty face turned even redder. She glared at him charmingly and said, "Do you treat every woman like this with your mouth? It's unjust, it's the conscience of heaven and earth. I have a deep love for Shue'er, and I don't even look at other women." Li Chen raised his finger. "Li Chen." Ah, Li Chen turned his head subconsciously and saw Li Zioqi's pair of long white legs entering the video. "Can you fix this for me?" Li Chen glanced at Murong Shue, who had narrowed her eyes slightly in the video, and thought to himself that it was bad. "Ahem, I can't fix this, but my elder brother can." Li Chen refused righteously. "I'll ask my elder brother to help you later." "Okay, thank you." Li Zioqi waved and walked away with a brisk pace. "Shue'er. Deeply in love? You don't even look at other women." Murong Shue folded her hands in front of her chest. The change in her posture at this time made Li Chen realize that something had gone wrong. Her cold eyes, with scrutiny and coercion, looked like the queen interrogating a prisoner. "Misunderstanding, this is all misunderstanding." Li Chen hurriedly said, "That's Li Zioqi, we live broadcast together, good friends." "Good friends," Murong Shue snorted, "these legs are whiter than mine." "No, no, yours are the whitest and the best looking." Li Chen looked righteous. "I promise, I don't think I'm looking around." "Humph." Murong Shue turned her head to the side, feeling more and more uneasy. Li Chen still has some charm. This guy may not want to flirt with other girls, but it doesn't mean that there are no girls who don't want to flirt with him. Li Chen wiped the cold sweat. Li Zioqi came in at the wrong time. It was not easy to pass the first level, and the second level came again. It's really a sin. "Shue'er, I'll show you our new home." Li Chen smiled and said, "By the way, let you see how many animals we have now." "Are you changing the subject?" Li Chen smiled and said, "No, I'm showing you our future." Murong Shue didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This man was talking nonsense. In the end, Murong Shue was still forcibly led astray by Li Chen. "Li Chen's greatest skill is to paint a big pie for you. Of course, this is not a big pie, because the equipment and transformation of the village are still continuing." "Hey, is the village being transformed now?" The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 558. Yes, Li Chen left the children behind and started watching the video with Murong Shue. Women are such strange animals, maybe they don't even know what they are thinking. When Li Chen took her to watch, Murong Shue's anger subsided, and the idea of coming back became more determined. Finally, after hanging up the phone, Li Chen breathed a sigh of relief. Coaxing a wife is also a technical job, and ordinary people really can't resist it. Big pot, Li Biwu took a big Lingtong toy and stuffed it into Li Donglong. Li Donglong looked at the toy in his hand with a confused face, and then Xiao Wu ran away. Big pot, please answer if you find it, OWA. Li Donglong. He didn't want to pay attention to his stupid sister, and now he just wanted to feed the two little brain axes. Big pot, please answer if you find it, OWA. What? Li Donglong answered reluctantly. Please come and fish for RU. Big pot, Daddy, let's go fishing for RU in the afternoon, are you going? Oh wow, Li Biwu asked, hiding outside the door. Li Donglong was very tired. His stupid sister was really hopeless. Why did she take this toy across the wall when she could have made it clear in front of him? I found it, I also want to fish for RU. Oh wow, Li Donglong still replied. Li Zifeng, who was sitting on the bamboo horse, curled her lips. The eldest brother is just a hypocrite. Awoo! The little wolf cried happily, it liked to play with this bamboo horse with its little master. After Li Chen hung up the phone, Li Xiaoan came over, "Brother Chen. What's wrong?" Li Chen rolled up his sleeves, took out a lot of big potatoes, and began to peel them. "Did you acquire a Shang live?" Li Xiaoan said with her black eyes staring. "Yes," Li Chen asked while peeling the potatoes, "what's wrong?" Li Xiaoan smiled a little embarrassedly, "Just asking, because my sister originally wanted to leave." Li Chen smiled, "I know, anyway, you should know the conditions. If you want to stay, then stay. If you really don't want to, I won't force you." Li Xiaoan nodded heavily after hearing this. "Thank you, Brother Chen." "You're welcome." Li Chen smiled, "If you have nothing to do, help me peel the potatoes." Li Xiaoan. Finally, Li Xiaoqi also joined the army of peeling potatoes. Little guys like Xiao Wu who would join in wherever they saw the excitement would not miss this opportunity. So, the whole family peeled potatoes together. "Xiaolong, go turn over the rice," Li Chen shouted. Okay, Li Donglong learned his lesson this time and did not kick the rice in flip-flops. He put on his shoes and straw hat, and then went to the dojo to turn over the rice. After several days of continuous exposure to the sun, the moisture of these rice grains has been dried. However, after turning them over, you can still see a light layer of water vapor on the ground. This means that there is still a lot of water vapor in the rice grains, and they need to continue to be exposed to the sun for a while. Li Biwu leaned on Li Chen and asked, "Dad, what are you doing?" "Making potato flour." Li Chen smiled and said, "Go and play by yourself." No, Li Biwu shook her head. Although she was making trouble now, she didn't want to go out. Li Xiaoqi and Li Xiaoan saw Li Biwu acting coquettishly, and they couldn't help but want to laugh. "This little girl is really cute. Since you don't go out to play, don't disturb Dad," Li Chen said. "Okay. Okay." Li Biwu continued to play with water. Li Chen. Finally, Li Chen got up and started to cut the peeled and washed potatoes into small pieces. "Come, help Daddy knead this potato." A super large basin was also half filled with water. After cutting the potato into small pieces, wrap it with white linen. Hold it from the top, put it in the water from the bottom, and keep kneading it. Li Biwu immediately found a new fun in playing with water. "Is it fun?" "Fun." Li Biwu smiled happily. Li Chen breathed a sigh of relief, and finally made use of this energetic little guy. After continuous kneading, the starch inside will all settle down. In order to ensure that there is enough food at home, the amount of these potatoes is also quite a lot. After making 5 or 6 basins, it began to slowly gather. Finally, it was transferred to a bucket and brought outside to be exposed to the sun. In this temperature, it can be dried in 2 days at most. The white powdery block that precipitates at that time is starch. As long as these starches are processed again, potato flour can be made. After finishing, Li Chen started to cook. Everyone has not eaten yet, and they are more or less hungry. Take a big fish out of the big pond next to you, and after processing it, you can start eating. Li Xiaoqi and Li Xiaoan are working with the company. When she learned that the boss behind the company has been replaced by Li Chen, Li Xiaoqi gave up the idea of leaving. If she hadn't had no choice before, she wouldn't have put all her eggs in one basket. Since there is a better choice now, she naturally wants to stay. Li Chen took a machete and cut some bamboo from the bamboo forest next to him. These bamboos are not very thick, but they are very tough. With the frequent dilution of spiritual spring water, they should be tougher than ordinary bamboos. Li Donglong is still a cool boy with sleeves, sunglasses, and straw hat. "Dad, I want this one." Li Donglong pointed to a small bamboo pole that was 3 or 4 meters long. "Okay," Li Chen said, Cut it yourself, like me, don't cut yourself. Li Donglong nodded, followed suit, and quickly cut off the bamboo pole. What about those bamboo branches? There are some tricks to removing bamboo branches. You have to pay attention to the strength and don't cut it, Li Chen demonstrated and guided on the side. Many people will remove the bamboo skin and flesh when removing bamboo branches because of carelessness. As a result, the bamboo joints are directly hollow, and some people will directly break the bamboo tip of the bamboo pole because of poor strength. In this way, the elasticity of this bamboo will be greatly reduced. It looks like a simple gadget, but it is quite troublesome to tinker with it. Because it is just a leisure activity between father and son, neither of them is particular. After preparing the fishing line, float, and hook, the father and son are ready to go to the reservoir to try their luck. It is said that the reservoir has not dried up for more than 10 or 20 years. It is really hard to say whether there are big fish. In theory, there are. Li Zifeng is wearing a straw hat seriously, and at the same time, she has packed her small backpack, which contains several water bottles and snacks. Sister. Don't rush, Li Zifeng replied, and after packing her own things, she began to be arranged by Li Biwu. The little girl had to follow suit, and Li Zifeng, as a sister, could only help. She also followed Li Zifeng and packed a lot of food and toys. In the end, Daodu helped it carry it, otherwise she would not be able to walk. Li Chen carried fishing tools in one hand and a large parasol in the other hand. Of course, he didn't use it for himself, but for Xiao Wu and the others. The reservoir in Jia village is very large, with an irregular shape, and is also built around the mountain. Under the scorching sun, the water surface is sparkling. However, there are still many people walking around the reservoir. If nothing unexpected happens, they are the infrastructure teams preparing to transform the village. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 559. The transformation of the village is in full swing. Vehicles and people can be seen everywhere. If it were another village, such a scene would not be likely to appear. After Li Chen took the three little ones around the reservoir dam, he finally chose a good place and opened the sun umbrella. At the same time, he laid out the prepared carpet, and the two little girls began to roll on it. The water side is not too hot. When the wind blows, it will bring a trace of moisture. Li Zifeng leaned on the slope and looked at the shimmering lake. Li Chen and Li Donglong put down the small stool, and the two fathers and sons each took a rod and started fishing. Sister, next time. Li Zifeng looked at the food handed over by Xiao Wu and ate it unceremoniously. Xiao Wu also imitated her sister and ate snacks leisurely. Li Chen didn't care whether he could catch fish or not. The main thing was that the weather was good, just right to take the three children to have fun. Li Donglong seemed particularly serious, after all, it was his first time to fish in such an environment. Very excited and satisfied. Zhujia Bay, Ljia village. Zhou, wearing a straw hat and standing in the hot sun, said, "Are all the people here?" There were already 30 or 40 men at the door of Zhou Jiang's house, and each of them was tanned black and red. All are here. Zhou Jiang lightly counted the number of people, 45 people in total, right? Come on, register here first. Do you know why I'm looking for you? Many people looked at each other, a little at a loss. Zhou Jiang was not angry, but waited until everyone had registered before saying, "There are 45 of us, and we will be divided into 3 groups, 15 people in each group. The main goal is to patrol." "What do you do for patrol?" "Of course, it's to protect our village," Zhou Jiang said. "From today on, everyone who enters our village will be checked. This is the first. Second, everyone who comes in and out must register. I will install surveillance immediately and keep an eye on them at all times. Third, our village will be renovated in the future, and there will definitely be tens of thousands of people coming here to work. More people means there will be conflicts and trouble. I chose you to prevent this from happening. Once someone really dares to cause trouble in our territory, I will never tolerate it. Fourth, patrols during this period are paid, and the salary is paid by Li Chen, so you must remember how important the safety of the village is in the future. Those who have motorcycles should ride them, and those who don't have them should buy them. How can you walk in such a big village? The fuel cost will be reimbursed when the time comes. Do you understand? Everyone smiled and nodded immediately. How could they not understand this? Okay, everyone, go get ready first. Come over around 5 p.m. to get 2 sets of clothes. These are what our patrol officers need to wear. Don't let me down. Zhou Zhang waved his hand and signaled everyone to disperse. At this time, the Ljia village office was overcrowded. Even some vehicles were blocked and some were blocked. After all, there were too many vehicles coming, and everyone wanted to eat this big cake, so the competition was naturally quite fierce. Such a large project is not something that ordinary people can chew, and those who can chew it are not ordinary people. Now, the first to start construction is the infrastructure team. Li Chenwang and Hu Mian have selected a part to start surveying the landform, and the rest of the team is still in the process of attracting investment. The team that was originally quite tough anywhere dared not be presumptuous here now. Even though the Gong family was defeated, many people still got the news. No one wants to be the first to stand out, otherwise it will really be a loss. For a large-scale engineering project, the design of the drawings and the final draft alone will take countless efforts. What's more, this is such a big project. Multiple combinations are particularly important. The village hired a total of 12 design teams alone, all of which worked together to survey and design, and finally let Li Chen make the final decision. Although it was very tight and difficult, Li Chen's price was high. Even if there was no air conditioning, only electric fans, everyone accepted it. As long as this order was accepted, the next thing would be easy. Li Feichen and Yan Zhenkai were meeting in another place. A large number of work sheds were built in the village, all of which were used as temporary bases. The cultivation of the sea of flowers and the overall inlay must be perfectly laid out. Li Feichen and Yan Zhenkai are both somewhat obsessive-compulsive, and they must ensure that the task is completed perfectly, and it must not affect the rest of the foundation construction. This is really not a small project. The selection, cultivation, and care of flower species and other work must cost a lot. Site selection and design are the most critical and indispensable. No, this still won't work, let's do it again, Li Feichen said. It must include the elements of the two names Li Chen and Murong Shui. The design team was almost bald, but the client's fathers were not satisfied, so they could only continue to modify. The transport fleet coming and going was also constantly transporting raw materials to the village. There were almost no idle people in the whole village, almost all of them were busy working. At the school, because a large number of people joined, the progress of the work was greatly increased. The school, which was originally scheduled to be completed in a month, is now progressing at a rapid pace. Li Kongfeng had never seen such a fast construction speed, but fortunately the quality was not slack. Otherwise, if it really turned out to be a shoddy project, he would have a hard time delivering it, as this was a major event related to the education of future generations in the village. Li Shanfu, Li Peng, and Li Jianhua are now concentrating on managing the cultivation of herbs in the village. Now with the blessing of rich vitality water, Li Chen can let them do whatever they want. If this batch of herbs matures smoothly, everyone's pockets will be full again. The cultivation of herbs has never been slowed down, and a certain amount has always been maintained. Now, each family has set up a tent near their home. The things that need to be moved have also been moved out, and the next thing to do is to determine what kind of house they want to build. Although Li Chen promised to pay half, if he wants to build a more luxurious one, he will pay a lot. Some people just want to live a quiet life, so they only need a nice house. The construction speed of such people's houses is naturally fast, but some people want to open a hotel. According to Li Chen's idea, this place has great development prospects. Then how to design and choose and match materials next, we need to be careful. Some people want to open a farmhouse, anyway, everyone has different ideas. That is to say, there are a lot of people in the construction team this time, otherwise it would be really difficult. A team of more than 2,000 people can start construction almost at the same time. At that time, it is nothing more than a question of the size of the project. Some houses have already started digging foundations and construction, after all, they have to rush the work. Taking advantage of the good weather, no one wants to waste time. Unlike the fast pace of the whole village, Li Chen seems to be leisurely. Fishing with his son and daughter is the most pleasant thing. Li Biwu is a person who can't sit still. He has already squatted by the water to catch silly fish. Silly fish like to be in shallow water areas. They look silly and have a big head, but the overall length is about the length of an adult's finger. Generally, they are very small. Wow, Daddy, I caught it. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihamigwa. Chapter 560. Li Biwu raised her hands excitedly, her eyelashes looked like they were gilded in the sun. Xiao is so amazing. Li Chen gave a thumbs up and said, do you want to take it back with you? Yes, yes. Li Biwu stuck her butt out, stood up with difficulty, and then put the little silly fish into the water cup. Li Zifeng also came over. This kind of silly fish was the first time she saw it. Li Chen simply used a small wooden stick to prepare a weak version of the small fishing rod for Li Zifeng, and let Li Zifeng squat aside to learn how to fish for silly fish. This kind of fish is still very easy to catch. After processing, it will be very delicious if it is coated with a layer of flour and fried. Dad, Dad, Li Donglong exclaimed, and the whole fishing rod was bent out of shape. Li Chen had to come over to help Li Donglong stabilize the fishing rod. Woo! The fishing line made a humming sound in the water. Li Donglong's face flushed with excitement, and of course he was also sunburned. On the first day of fishing, the fish are often the most exposed to the sun, starting to turn red and eventually turning wheat-colored. Slow down, don't panic, Li Chen warned, you have to learn to fight it. Li Donglong was very excited and followed the instructions step by step. Finally, after more than 20 minutes of fishing, he caught a huge silver carp. This fish is almost 15 pounds, which is really big. Li Donglong was so excited that he quickly posted a video and a circle of friends. Li Chen also edited some videos he had taken before and sent them to Donglong. Xiao Wu, go home. The three children were very satisfied with fishing today. Li Chen enjoyed this moment more, and didn't care much about whether he caught any fish. Although he caught a lot of fish, he gave up all of them. After the family of four returned to the house, Li Donglong immediately asked his sister Li Zifeng to teach him how to upload videos, and he learned on the side. After it was done, it was immediately uploaded to the platform account. So that's how it's done. Li Donglong learned it immediately after watching for a while. When he was in Beijing, he didn't have access to these things. Now that he's back, he's enjoying the fun he's never had before. Uploading videos is a way to give back to fans who like their family, letting them see their family's life. Soon, the video was uploaded. Many fans are looking forward to it. Since they knew that Li Chen's account was managed by Li Zifeng, the fans were very enthusiastic. After all, Li Zifeng is not Li Chen, and she updates quite frequently. This gives everyone a little more hope. When Li Donglong uploaded the video, it immediately attracted a lot of onlookers. Li Chen entered the kitchen and started cooking. Li Zioqi and Li Xiaoan will leave after broadcasting Li Chen's duel with those dog fighters tomorrow. In the evening, Li Chen made a big pot of braised pork and a bowl of braised winter melon cubes. These two bowls of dishes are the three children's favorite. A bowl of lufa soup, a bowl of potato chips, a bowl of lettuce and a long bean. It was not the first time that Li Zioqi and Li Xiaoan had eaten at Li Chen's house, but every time they ate here, they could not help but sigh. If the boyfriend they find in the future can have 1/10 of Li Chen's cooking skills, they will be satisfied. Roar. After smelling the tempting aroma of food, the two little tigers lay down beside Li Donglong's legs and looked at him greedily. The little wolf hid in the corner, but he was too timid, but he finally followed behind Daodu's butt. I don't know if it's because Daodu looks like a wolf, so the little wolf is more willing to get close to Daodu. But Daodu was a little disgusted. After all, the little wolf was too small and timid. Xiao Ziahe, the wild boar, is very courageous, mainly because he has come here several times with Liahe. It is not picky at all, and the food is also the simplest. Li Chen's pig food plus some vegetables watered with diluted vitality water. After dinner, Li Chen lay in the courtyard to enjoy the breeze. Li Zioqi and her friends played cards with Li Donglong and several children, and several small animals ran around them. Onal Town. At this time, one car after another finally stopped in Onal Town and found the most luxurious hotel in the area to stay. Not only that, some even brought their own dogs. Hello everyone, I am a fake anchor, I have arrived in Onal Town. I will rest for one night today and will set off for Ljia village tomorrow. Everyone, I am a super popular anchor, I just arrived here and found that the development here is quite good. I am very tired after driving all day today. I will take a rest first and then go to Ljia village tomorrow. Don't worry, I will definitely show you the most real scene and remove Li Chen's hypocritical mask. Dihao Hotel. Lingzhou Dog King got off the car with his people. Someone went to negotiate with the hotel specifically and was willing to pay a high fee. In the end, the dog was also taken in. Following closely, more than 10 dogs came, all of whose owners were either rich or noble. Moreover, these dogs were of very unusual breeds. When everyone gathered together, they looked at each other and understood each other's purpose. Their target was the arrogant and ignorant Li Chen. Everyone, are you all planning to go to Ljia village tomorrow? So you are all in the same boat, your dog is good, I know. Yes, yes, that brat dared to deceive the world with a local dog, how can we let him be arrogant? Everyone was talking, and they were all a little excited. Brother Qi, you are the closest to Rong Chen, did you see it with your own eyes? The Dog King owners looked at the slightly older middle-aged man one by one. Qi Rui shook his head slightly, with a trace of, although I didn't go to the scene in person, I don't believe it. Can a mere local dog make so many dogs surrender? Hearing this, everyone laughed. Everyone is a dog player, and they know the morals of their own dogs very well. The more ferocious the dog is, the less likely it is to surrender to other dogs. It makes sense to surrender once or twice, and at worst, it is just not daring to fight with the strongest dog. If you say fear, no dog is cowardly. However, the scene in the video made them feel insulted. You want your dog to be famous, which is understandable. Everyone has fame and desire. But you can't do it recklessly, that scene makes everyone angry. A local dog makes hundreds of dogs surrender, this is too fake. Lingzhou Dog King laughed and said, I now suspect that Li Chen may not dare to fight tomorrow. With my dog, I suspect that his local dog may not even last a round. Hee, I'm not bragging. Although my dog has been defeated, it will fight more and more bravely. Even if it is killed or disabled, it will keep fighting. It's not easy for us to come all the way here. Tomorrow, Li Chen will pay a price. This is natural, otherwise no one will dare to destroy the reputation of our dog-fighting world in the future. Everyone nodded. I heard that Jack, the beast tamer from abroad, is here too. Not only him, but several other big guys who are not well known have also come. Aren't there wild boar kings and tiger kings in the back mountain of Li Chen's house? The targets of these beast tamers have never been the dogs of Li Chen's family, but the beast kings. So that's it? Once they control the wild boar king and tiger king, it will be a shock to the world.